TheSpy. At Worlds 2025, IG and T1 would be forced to play against each other for the last spot in the Switch stage in one best-of-5. T1 were coming into the Worlds with a new roster as they had just replaced Zeus with Dorn this year. The team looked shaky going into Worlds as they barely beat DK in the first round of playoffs and got 3-0'd by HLE in round 2. They would pretty convincingly beat DK again and take Genji to Game 5, where they would then lose and become the 4th seed going into Worlds. IG were in the same boat as T1, as they were able to beat most teams such as BLG, Top Esports, AL, and JDG in the regular season, but in playoffs, they failed to step it up when it mattered most. This to the world was considered a super team, as they had players like JJ, the Shy, the Rookie, Gala, all on one team. In the summer, IG would sub out JJ and replace him with Wei, and Wei was definitely a coin flip player in the LPL, but he was performing better than JJ did, and going into Worlds, we didn't know how they were going to play, similarly to T1. T1 were coming into the game as favorites, as many people would, defending world champions versus a made-believe team of LPL players. Now, IG, though, in this game, would come out swinging.
Out of my lane, he says.
Nice punish here from Rookie, coming back on the teleport. Gets the flash out of Faker. Top side.
Flash in from the Shy, looking for Dorn, who's dashing around, finds the ulti, and down goes the Ambassador. Problem is,
Gold lead for himself.
this dragon going on down. Okay, that's the MasterCard priceless moment right there as the Infernal Soul is going to go down.
IG just got all 4 dragons and got the Infernal Soul. They just need to play methodically and make sure no one oversteps. Also, if you guys don't know, Rookie has had a horrible LPL season this year. This was his best series so far. He is performing like prime Rookie if you guys watched him in 2018. But then, you know how this is. This happens.
We'll see whether they do decide to pull the trigger as the teleport is coming in from the Shy. Carrier wanting to get into position, but the Shy is going to be spotted immediately. Good spell shield as the Supreme Display of Talent doesn't find the angle, and then Protect the President comes on through from T1. Void Rush not going to be enough, and it's Gumayusi that gets the better of the Rek'Sai. And the Shy may have thrown a bit of this lead away, but IG still stand. Immediately they get to just put themselves into a winning position because the Baron was right there for the taking. It was into Infernal Soul, Kobe! As now they're looking for even more. The Pulverize only connects onto one. Supreme Display of Talent goes absolutely everywhere, but it doesn't do anything. Ennis Racket of Faker as Wei not going to get thrown back this time, but the rocks will be enough. A double kill for Faker. The GOAT sitting at 4-1 and 5 at the end of game 1, and it is an ace before the Nexus is taken down. T1 will lead the series 1-0.
T1 would then win the series 3-1, advancing to the Swiss stage at Worlds. The Spy is now seen as a joke where he tower dove Gumayusi and threw the game to receive some sort of payment. This is one of the best best-of-5s I've watched at Worlds this year, and I think that everyone should watch this game as Rookie was playing in prime form, the Shy was being the Shy. We got to see Gala versus Gumayusi and Faker in Worlds form too. Give it a watch. Now I'll play a video of all the crimes that the Shy committed. Nihao, Dhokla here. Let me give you some information about Dhokla. Dhokla was a top laner on 100 Thieves going into Worlds 2025. Some notable things he is known for is winning on Energy back in 2023 and going to Worlds as the 1st seed. He started gaining traction at Worlds when he started vlogging his channels and doing these.
Nihao, it's Dhokla here from China. We have a match today against BLG later, and I think just want to give my thoughts. I think going into it as the favorites, I think it's very important that we just play normal, don't do anything out of the ordinary. I was watching the series yesterday and I saw the Shy, and he made so many good plays. It just inspired me to try to implement that later today. So just be on the lookout for similar level of gameplay, and hope to see you guys watching. All right, I gotta go hit the gym. Later.
And so, many people would think 100 Thieves would lose to BLG, as BLG were the #1 LPL seed versus the #3 LCS seed, right? Right.
Beishuan walking through here has on He's on a ward. He just doesn't care. He's walking in, as you said, on there, and Quinn becomes lightning. Blue buff is now shown out. Ward down. A steal, no, a flash instead for the engaged. Blue buff goes over, but for River, can he get out alive? A flash match, but 1 HP. All it takes is an auto, and it was from on the heal out as well. H1, the flag, just out of range. River survives with the prize.
Yeah, it looks like set up the neutral off this push to Chav on the bottom side. FBI doesn't really have much damage at this stage and hasn't ticked over to level 6, so BLG trying to play off it.
Repel up, hang on, Quid sets up between worlds, on close to death, he gets bursted. First blood to 100 Thieves, Satchel charge out as River's in danger, but he gets a kill before dying himself. Now Elk might get one, but as he flashes away, he's got numbers against him. 100 Thieves on the board first, nice fight.
Nice pick onto the support as well. And is only end up losing their junglers. Bin,
what he's been doing? BLG, I don't know, question that man.
Question mark pings across the board, to be honest. That was a series of unfortunate events for them. And they make it work off the back of a great ultimate from Quid.
And watch again how this happened. I think he's going to pray seeker to stop. Tunnel. Oh. And then... okay.
That was terrible.
that was probably not him.
You would think that this was the worst thing that happened in that game, where Big Dokes just solo killed Bin under the tower for some reason. But 100 Thieves and Big Dokes just kept on running BLG down. It gets worse from here.
People separated. Dragon now going to be started up. And they're going to continue this push.
X-Gate angle from Rivers, not too bad, but for BLG clumped up. They now stand at the Weaver's Wall to make him Bob down. Rivers angle, though, that's what I'm looking at. As Bin's tanking up the damage for now. 100 Thieves going to bring in Quid with the teleport. On vision for the time being, that ward in front of Dragon, paying dividends. As Ace in the hole onto Ayla, that's their engage. Maybe gives BLG a chance. There's still a potential at 3k. The Dragon in front of Page 1, not stolen, and he'll die with it as well. The Cataclysm has been separated from the team. Dhokla zoning out BLG. He's getting poked out though with a snap engage. Finally connecting, and a kill down. Bin survived for a long time. There just ain't enough. He bought all the time in the world out with the tunnel for now, but there's Quid with the range. BLG running away. Elk can't do too much with the Crescent Guard in the way, and on is just a dead spider body. 100 Thieves for 3, BLG with 2. I see the play, I see the faith, I see an A! A triple turns into an ace, and the long con patience paid off.
Spectacular team fights that have been the core of 100 Thieves' identity, and BLG just look like they have no answer for them here as Elk spotted Quid.
Yeah, he is. Quid pops between worlds, bursts him. One shot, Ayla contributes. The burn, the auto is enough. A bit of an overcommit from 100 Thieves, but who cares? They're so far ahead. There's a cocoon, but On is also caught out. He repels up. He's looking for a target to get away. Bage 1 has to command, but with that, he's sealing his own death warrant as well. The first LPL team is getting bodied by a couple of risky Thieves. There's a shutdown there, but meanwhile Knight has to flush away from Dhokla, who's under a turret, who's destroying the best mid laner of the East right now. Flush away, no. Dhokla just soloed Knight.
100 Thieves are in the base. 100 Thieves are about to take down BLG in China.
Listen, there's nothing. The LPL fans are here to cheer on the first season they thought was the sure win. But then 100 Thieves show up after getting defeated by VKS, after everyone saying they're a failure of a team. 100 Thieves just beat the crap out of the LPL.
Big Dokes and 100 Thieves would beat the first seed of the LPL, and we would get another Dhokla post-game vlog.
Hey guys, Dhokla here. We just won against BLG. I don't really know why my mentions and all my notifications are blowing up. You know, we were the favorites going into the match, so I'm not really sure why. But yeah, we're 1-0, and you know we'll be playing the 1-0 team tomorrow. So see you then. Thanks for the support.
Very nonchalant.
369 gives G2 backshots. On the opening day of Swiss Stage, G2 would be put up against Top Esports. Fans were pretty split on who would win this game, as EU fans were still hopeful and coping from MSI 2024, where they would then beat Top Esports, but some fans were still pretty doubtful that it would be a Top Esports stomp. The game was already over before it started, as Top Esports would exponentially grow their gold lead, but around the 20-minute mark, G2 would try to find a pick onto 369 so that they could have a player advantage for Otacon. But this was where disaster struck, and if you're a G2 fan, you already know G2 loves to be in a montage for the other team.
Everybody distracted now, but he's got to be careful because he's in World Ender, but he's got no flash. Everybody from G2 piling in on 369. The Aatrox won't die fast enough. Sterix Gage pops to keep him alive. Broken Blade is already down. Everybody on G2 is eviscerated. 369 with one last Deathbringer stance. Rips the life out of Broken Blade and stays alive himself. Jackie Love chases forward with the auto attacks. It's an ace and an Otacon for not a damn thing. Top Esports absolutely steamrolled them.
This would be a sad day for EU fans, but this would also be a sad day as G2 would then add another clip into their library of iconic plays. Oysters Rise Up. CFO was a really well-known team if you followed League in 2025. They made it to every international event and had some big names on their team, as their team consisted of young blood while also having veterans, which made this team quite deadly. Hongq is considered as a prodigy in the LCP and showed it at internationals and the regular season. On day 2 of the Swiss stage, CFO were placed against T1 and were considered the underdogs going into the match. But if you guys remember what happened at MSI, the games were really close, as Doggo would get a pentakill in that game. And in this game, Oysters would upset and then lead to this.
See that he's looking to get the double crabs. Kaiwen working with Ginger though to guarantee that that doesn't happen. And this is just a great interaction between two high-level junglers right now. It's Ginger.
Hello, Doggo! He just solo killed Doran.
We need to get a replay as Doggo starts off the game with a solo kill.
What just happened top?
My goodness, let's look back at this. So he's about 50% HP right now. Doggo smartly, as Doran comes into last hit these minions, lands those auto attacks while dodging away from the tower shots. Another auto attack comes through. I mean, at this point, you'd think Doran is just going to go back to base. Oh, the tunnel gets interrupted.
Stand aside.
Beautifully played by Doggo.
CFO would then somehow out-team fight T1 in every objective fight, while also Doggo would then pop off and perform and get a montage reel.
Is on the way in, 600 now waiting, and it's a double grub situation. Okay, maybe for the third. Is Junjik being greedy? No, they get all three in the end. It's Owner, excuse me. He came in to get the steal, but he'll die for it with Doggo getting a cash in. It's a nice petrifying gauge from Faker, but an exit now needed as Hongq cuts it off, forces a flash from the goat. He's caught out, decimating smash, and CFO come alive. Driver has walked into the ongoing trap. Hongq now walks into range of Owner, and CFO had control, but they're relinquishing it. A triple kill for the slippery snake of Faker, and T1 punished so damn well as Gumayushi gets flashed on. Doggo's still got the spunk. 3-0 on the Draven. He needs to step up. Two decimating smash just out of range. Doran flashes, misses, whiffs. Meanwhile, Owner went in by himself. T1 is separated. Driver cuts off the cross, and Kaiwen picks up the kill. T1, they're sparked up a little bit with an ulti that came afar from Doggo as Doran jumps in deep. T1 are fighting one by one, and I see a double on a damn cow. Realm Warp in behind enemy lines, and T1 are finding themselves hanging with a leg to stand on. Petrifying Gaze misses all, and CFO are bringing it to the world champs. Just imagine if we started getting the best of 5 of this again. It's only one game, but it feels so good. Junja's going to be caught out, though, as he runs for his life. Gets away with the help of a heal. And CFO supporting staff are coming in. Carrier, though, a clutch defense. Petrifying Gaze, though, won't be enough. As Driver's always where you need him as well. Against T1, CFO get a bit of revenge. And the first team going 2-0, Betty. At least in my eyes, CFO smacking down the LCK's 4th seed as Baker runs back to the base, but this game's done. I see one delicious looking Oyster at Worlds 25.
This win was considered an upset, as who would have thought that CFO would beat T1? After the series, CFO would show the world that they can compete with the best after a deserved win against T1. And the highlights for Doggo, allowing them to gain new fans and hope for the LCP. Don't get excited. Before Worlds even started, during the LCK round 3 to 5 playoffs, KT would have to qualify for Worlds. In the first series, they would convincingly beat BNX in the first round. But then they would have to play against Genji. And before the match even started, the predictions came in and everybody voted that Genji would beat KT. But in KT fashion, they would prove everybody wrong, and they would beat Genji in a close 5-game series, qualifying them for Worlds.
What a performance.
There you go. Qualified for Worlds 2025, just like that.
At Worlds, KT's first opponent would be against MKOI, and everybody thought that KT would win. But surprisingly, MKOI would have a lead until BDD would pull off this move.
He's a set up with the path maker. Meanwhile, Cuz has been left by his team. The jump in there, Jojo's going to follow as well. Shockwave is big though. 3-man with a hot pot inside. MKOI ran in, it was a bait, it was a ruse, and Cuz drew them in. Flush from Dokdem, ace in the hole. He sets it up now, and Super's in the ground. Cuz is a freaking genius.
This would allow KT to turn the game around and move to 1-0. They would then draw Team Secret and dominate them to move on to 2-0. The last team that KT would pull would be against Top Esports, and they would smash them into the ground going 2-0, as BDD would go 5-2-15 on Aurora and 5-1-11 on Cassiopeia, allowing them to advance towards the knockouts. In the quarterfinals, they would be faced off against CFO, and Peter would absolutely pop off as him and BDD would absolutely seal the nail on the coffin, diffing Hankyu. And so KT would then 3-0 CFO and move on to semifinals, where then they would face off against Genji. Similarly, in the LCK playoffs, everybody would expect that Genji would beat KT. But if you know anything about KT, it's that when nobody has any expectations of them, it is when they perform. As in the series, BDD would solo kill Chovy and beat Genji 3-1, moving on to the finals for the first time in BDD's long decorated history as a player, along with the rest of KT.
KT, all the years, all the tears, all the fears forgotten. It is one step closer to the promised land as we see no defense available for Genji. KT are going to finals!
Reality.
The crowd.
Now in the finals, KT only had one more job, and that was to take away another Worlds title from Faker. KT would take games 2 and 3, but in the end, T1 would end their exciting dance and defeat KT. Although in the end they lost and could not lift the Summoners Cup, they surprised the world by exceeding expectations and defeating Genji and going the whole distance against T1 in the finals. T1's three-peat. T1 were considered as an inconsistent team heading into Worlds, as they had just lost to Hanwha Life and Genji in the LCK. But if you know anything about T1, it's that they perform when it's at Worlds. They were the 4th seed in the LCK, so they had to play a play-ins match against IG, which looked pretty dicey at moments, but Guma and Owner would absolutely carry them to Swiss.
Just couldn't make his way back in again, so Gala kind of left out to dry. Now the Otacon has been started by IG. This has been a point of contention for this team. We'll see whether they can make it work this time around here in Game 4. Man, this is feeling like they're throwing the gauntlet as now the paranoia comes down. Doran finds a huge knock-up and the AoE is massive. The wild growth absurd by T1. And their team fighting is just too good, ladies and gentlemen. Gala keeping himself alive, but there are too many people here. Rookie finds the clone of all things, but the Otacon will stay up. And T1 did lose Rookie 2 in the process. Can Rookie do it? Can he be the hero? But he cannot in this moment. Still, they saved the Otacon, and that may actually be the biggest deal in this moment.
Wait, they've got a teleport from Doran. They can teleport Doran back in. Faker and Keria are flanking them. There's the teleports coming in. It's actually answered here by IG as well.
Oh, Gala gets executed. Faker finds him in the brush. He thought he was safe, and honestly, so did we, because there wasn't the vision as Doran slams his head into the wall, but he is so incredibly tanky. The flash out from Keria to avoid the re-engage as Rookie is doing a fair bit of work. Doran doesn't have damage himself, and now the Shy has made his way in. It's another hook connecting, but Owner is also respawned. Ladies and gentlemen, Doran will be dying
Nocturne
in this fight, but yeah, we have Paranoia coming up very, very soon. And the Ash Arrow is 8 seconds away. I do not think it's Otacon time. Please let me breathe.
No way, buddy. Let's keep the action going. T1, they approach, they fire.
As Gumayusi's going to find it, and Rookie's going to get punished once again. It's being in a brush that's going to be their downfall, and it's Keria that's able to get the last hit, but Gumayusi is kiting like a madman. Another wild growth, and T1, it feels like the same team fight that they won before. Well, they're going to go win it again.
That was no use.
And the Ziggs that was their Achilles heel is finally going to be taken down as T1 will make it to the Swiss stage to defend their world's title.
In the Swiss stage, T1 would not look quite in form, as they would drop games against CFO and Gen.G, and would be forced into the 1 and 2 bracket. Everybody besides Keria and Faker would look absolutely lost, as they would look like they were just not taking the game seriously.
Qiyana can be one champion alongside a lethality bars who can burst through that Zen if he's not able to get that ultimate down and really deny a lot of that effective sustain. As TP coming in on the bottom side, Mirwen locking up Gumayusi, immediately taking him into the death realm, but he just quickly walks back, uses the power of the ultimate, and the 1v1, the Q flash forward. Gumayusi may have overstayed as well. He's about to get taken out. Keria will eventually fall. Surely Keria will. Okay, Keria has fallen. All is okay. Instead, unfortunately, a bit of a flub from the bot lane of T1. Mirwen looking to rinse and repeat here. Pullback does connect onto Guma. Do they want to keep the dive going? They don't even need to go that deep. Just obliterates him. Keria gonna get taken out. Well, they know he has no unbreakable will. MKOI grab another 2 in the mid. Try to deny some CS, try to get some plates. So MKOI recognize they're down a man. They don't want to commit the TP. Immediate exhaust on the Keria. 2-man knockup with the pulverize. Good damage down. Forced using unbreakable will, but he's so low. Supa pushes for a bit more, and it's the big one to get it done. Redemption coming in the mid lane. It's going to heal up the minion as well. Keep the push onto this tower going. And Elyo wants Guma.
But in the end, they would beat them and move on to the knockout.
They need to make this work. They don't have the angle. Guma with a perfect spell shield is still going to remain standing. T1 move on to the top 8 at Worlds 2025. MKOI are sent packing.
In the quarterfinals, T1 will be placed against anyone's legend, a very strong LPL team and probably the team with the highest chance to beat T1. And this is where Faker would deliver his coldest line this tournament.
一单输者当破强敌。
很多人说它是英雄联盟最高的山，最长的河，但我觉得它只是我们下一个对手而已。
플랑드레 선수 우리를 단순한 상대라고 생각하신다면 이미 패배하셨습니다.
These games would go back and forth against each other, as this might be up there as one of the greatest best of 5s in World's history.
Team fight AL, and they'll take the first game in this best of 5.
The Panda Warriors are coming alive in Game 2 and showing that in Shanghai, this city will belong to them.
Will roar with the might of China as anyone's legend forces T1 to match point and takes Game 3. They will move to the Nexus, and they will take us to Silver Scrapes. Break.
You have to be so careful as AL. One of these spells lands and that Hextech so slows you, it can give T1 the opportunity to chase you down. As Flandre on the reset picked up his GA.
Okay, T1, they're moving into the river. They're taking total control now. Hope wants to grab the red buff, and Flandre needs to get back out and join up with the rest of AL here for the fight. Red buff secured. Elder Drake started, but so slowly. Flandre gonna move forward, try to clear away the control ward. They're going in after the Aatrox. They set him up with the arrow. Flandre has been caught at a critical moment. Over the wall goes Tarzan. Wild growth coming in from Kael. Guardian Angel will bring Flandre back, but where is the damage on AL's side? Doran into the back line. Kael is already down. Doran killed in response. T1 pushing forward. Shanks the next kill. Hope trying to kite. He needs to get away because T1 have won the fight 2-1.
Flandre is trying to reset and teleport back in. He's trying to link up with the team. The minions are here. They need to turn it. That's the teleport.
Okay, T1, they've got to understand this Aatrox is probably their target. Flandre arrives. Solar Snare looking to lock him up. Owner taking a ton of damage. Hope is excited. Flandre's got the kill. Solar Snare on Hope, but it's not going to do any more. Flandre's going to try to get away. Goes back in here for the Q1. Tarzan wants to engage onto Gumayusi, but he cannot find him. Flandre over the wall. Wants Faker. Can't get the damage. Hope can't do it either. Gumayusi's still alive. T1 out team fight into a legend for another delayed ace.
T1 kite into the alcove of death. They take down AL, and they're going to
engage. They found Flandra, but he gets away. Half HP on the front line of AL. T1 pushing forward. They've made their way on the Nexus. AL scrambles to the bend. Doran can't do it. History is written by the victors. And yet again, T1 turns the page of the LPL. They will once again earn their place in the semifinal.
It's another chalk line on what has been a very one-sided scoreboard for T1 as they take to the stage in Shanghai, securing semifinals and one more date with an LPL squad.
This would be one of the best of fives I ever watched, and T1 would advance to the semis to face off against Top Esports, where the T1 would then 3-0 Top Esports and make it to the finals, to be face-to-face against their longtime telecom rival, KT Rolster. Similarly to AL, this game would be incredibly tense as KT and T1 would go back and forth and trade games, as both these teams would take us to Silver Scrapes, where T1 would destroy KT in the final game and allow Doran to lift his first Worlds trophy, while also having T1 complete the three-peat, cementing their legacy as the most prestigious and dominant organization in League of Legends history.
Damn fast owner. We got a BDD. He goes gold in an extra 2.5 seconds to consider what went wrong as T1 looks set to end it all.
They're going to finish the job. It is Doran and Peter left alone in the mid lane, and T1 will ace them.
T1 earning their legacy again and again and again. There can be no doubting it. 4 players on the Rift today making the impossible possible. Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, Keria, and now Doran as well are world champions.
And the disbelief on his face. A teammate that so many have praised over the long years.
This is the most dominant team in League of Legends history, as Faker and T1 get their 6th world title, while also getting League's first ever three-peat, with Doran winning his first Worlds title and making Owner, Gumayushi, and Keria 3-time world champions.